So in today's episode of the Court of Public Opinion, is it possible to vote for a head of state online? Well, two people put it to the test. Mr. Kanare Mugume put up a poll stating Uganda decides who is your choice. In his poll, current head of state won, and Mr. Jim Spire Sentongo did exactly the same thing. And in his poll, Mr. Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu won. And there's been backs and forths about whose poll could be more credible. Some claiming, oh, fake accounts voted, oh, this poll was rigged. But for me, the most interesting question could be, can electronic voting ever become a reality, particularly in East Africa or in Africa or in Uganda as a state? And I'm asking this question for various reasons. One, historically, elections have had a lot of physical election violence at polling stations, but so many cases of votes being rigged and stolen. But at the same time, two, the election period itself becomes rather expensive, in that printing ballot papers, hiring polling assistants, to every single thing that has to do with elections, government ends up spending a little bit too much to have the election done. So the question is that if we had an electronic way of voting, what would that look like? Withstanding not that one, Uganda does not yet have at least the infrastructure technologically to have an e-election. Why? Because as of 2023, only 27% of Uganda has access to the internet. But the internet has never stopped us from doing anything. Over 33 million Ugandans have mobile phones, meaning that's over 68% of the population covered in that particular area, meaning they can vote over an SMS. But this also raises a lot of logistical questions if we decided to do an electronic version of elections. One, the issue of identity verification would become a problem. We could have cases of identity theft, which even in physical ballots have happened, but then electronically, if the system we are using is not reinforced, could become a huge issue. But also it raises issues of privacy, because if you're going to use an e-device to vote, it means it leaves a paper trail on who voted who. Because to vote, they need to first verify your identification that you are in fact a registered voter, you are Ugandan, and you're not some fake pseudo account or personal profile. Meaning it takes away the whole idea of secrecy of a ballot. You know, when you go to a Benson and circle the voter, no one will ever know who you voted because it was you and the ballot. But an e-election means that there's a trail to know who voted who. So it raises a lot of questions when it comes to privacy issues. So let's just say it's a double-edged sword, meaning that if we did decide to choose e-voting as a mechanism, it would cut down government costs on elections. But at the same time, how safe is it going to be for the voters and for the vote itself? I thought it was a very important conversation that we should all have. Tell me what you think.